What are the symbols of the Sabbath day? I love that God would put so much time and effort into producing and creating a world that's good and all the hosts that are in them. As we see in Moses chapter 3, and on the seventh day, I, God, ended my work and all things which I had made. And I rested on the seventh day from all my work, and all the things which I had made were finished, and I, God, saw that they were good. God is the author of goodness. Let's just spend a few minutes, though, looking at the Sabbath day. It turns out from a symbolic standpoint, the Sabbath day was the day, symbolically, when the temple was completed. So there'd be 6 days of symbolic work to prepare the temple, and then on the seventh day, the temple is dedicated. And God is able to find rest with everybody who's participating in the process of building the temple. So if we look at the creation story, not simply as like, say, a scientific explanation of how God created the world, which it isn't, and God did not tell us the science behind how he created the earth. Instead, and research seems to bear this out, it seems that the Sabbath day and the creation story are intended to be modeled on ancient temple dedications, where you'd spend all this time gathering all the workers, all the materials, arranging everything in the way it needs to be so that the temple be ready for dedication and occupancy by God himself. We think of the temple as God's home, and we say it's holiness to the Lord. And the point here is that once God is in his dwelling, once he has occupied his abode, the temple, all the earth is at peace. There is no more chaos. Again, if you look at the creation stories, it is God actually putting order where there had been chaos. And it's also interesting that when chaos re-enters into God's ordered world, he invites people back into his temple to create order once again. And if you look at the themes of the Old Testament, when God is acting in history with his people, it's often to provide order where there had been disorder, or to reorient the people back towards him, that he is the king of the land, living in his abode, which is the temple, and the land is supposed to be at peace and prospering. But when the people choose to be at right angles from God by mistreating him or mistreating their neighbors or their family members, right? Love God, love your neighbor. God asks us to take time to reflect and put ourselves back in a state of rest, to remember that real order comes from living according to God's commandments. And that's one of the beautiful symbols of the Sabbath day. It's a temple symbol that we are invited into the rest of God, to be in his abode and to have our lives ordered and no longer chaotic as we are with him. So as you think about the Sabbath day, and as you think about temples, think about God's created order, his acts of goodness, all with the intention to help us find the goodness that is truly in him.